she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. Boys, I'm glad you dropped in today. I have an unboxing today. I don't do a lot of unboxings, but it seems that's all I've been doing lately is unboxing stuff. Because with Hurricane Fiona, I had to get myself a bunch of new gear. So that's the upside of Hurricane Fiona, I guess. I got to get some new tools. But the downside is, man, oh man, I got a lot of work ahead of me. But anyways, as you know, I bought a new chainsaw, and I'll put a link to that video up here. Got a nice new steel MS250 saw, and when you're using that, of course, the chain gets dull after a while. And I usually file my chainsaw chains by hand, and that's what I've been doing. But I was in Princess Auto the other day, and I saw they had an electric chainsaw chain sharpener machine, and it was only 50 bucks. So I said, hey, I'm going to buy that just to see if it's junk or if it's not junk, you know, just try it out. So anyway, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to unbox this chainsaw chain sharpening machine and give it a go at an old chain, see how we make out. Let's go. So here it is. It's a Forest King electric chainsaw sharpener. So I've seen these before and used them a little bit, but I never owned one myself, so now I do own it. So it's parceled up nice, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. There's some instructions in it. Of course, everything has instructions. There's the actual tool with a nice plastic bag over top of it. And then this piece here, which holds the chain. So I don't know if anybody has ever seen chainsaw sharpeners before, electric ones, but they're just a little motor that runs an emery wheel, a grind wheel stone here, and you set this piece up here to hold the chain. I guess it goes that way, and this wheel goes on the bottom to hold it, and then that allows you to make adjustments like left and right for your angles. You end up putting your chain on this device here, and as this comes down, it grinds each tooth on your chain. So I'm going to have to spend a little time reading the instructions to see how this gets set up. So we'll just take it from there. Alright, I've got the saw more or less assembled here now. What I did was I mounted on a piece of 2x4 or 2x6, I guess, just so that you know, I could disconnect it from my table and move it around someplace else when I need it. So I just put that on with a couple of 1/4-inch bolts, and those bolts, by the way, don't come with the sharpener, FYI, but that's no big deal. The other thing, this little vise here at the front is adjustable, and this is how you adjust your angle that you're going to grind your teeth on the chain. I think mine are, I don't know, 15 degrees maybe, I'm not sure. Oh, here's where I can find out. In the manual for my saw, it shows here, this is the chain I have, and it says there's 2 angles for your chain that you need to be aware of when you're sharpening. If you can see them here, one of them is, I'm going to call it the angle of attack, that's A, and then the rake angle is B. And if we look down here for the chain that I have, it's this model here. So angle A is 30 degrees and B is 75. So that means this little vise here needs to be set to 30 degrees, way around there. All right. So, and then you take your chain. Now, I guess maybe one of the downsides of having this electric sharpener is you need to take your chain off the saw. But then again, if you're hand filing, you need to hold your saw on your knee or in a vise someplace like that to sharpen it. So that could be considered a downside too. So anyways, this chain, they call it the chain vise. There's 2 plates on it, a front and a back plate. There's also this little gizmo here, which is a clamp for the chain vise. And I had to assemble this cable. That cable come down from this lever handle up here, pass through the back of this chain vise, and then there's an adjustment nut on the front here so you can adjust the tension. And what that does is you pull this lever, and that'll clamp the chain in place so that it won't flop side to side. So then we put our chain in this vise. Oh, and the other thing is, on either end of this little vise, there's some cogged gear wheels that are used to advance the chain. So let's just put our chain in here. Now you can see by these wheels here, I can advance the chain forward or reverse, depending. One thing I like to do when I start to sharpen the chain, I like to mark where I'm starting so I'll know when I'm finished. So I have a paint marker here. So I'm just going to mark up this tooth and that link so I'll know that that's where I'm starting. Now, in order to set this up, like I say, we have to set the angle of attack. In my manual it said 30 degrees. So I have that set at 30 degrees. So then we bring this down, and what we have to do is line up the valley of the tooth with the wheel. Also, there's a setting for left and right sides. This one I'm going to call it the right side. I guess it's, yeah, I'm moving it to right. I'm going to call it the right side. I don't know what you really call it, but anyways, so I want this wheel to come down and set into the valley on that tooth. Now I'm not sure how well you can see that, but anyways, to help set that up, there's this stop here that goes behind the tooth. So then we'll set that in there, pull the chain back until it hits against that, and then we pull the wheel down until we just get in there. So now this adjustment out here, if you notice, when I turn this, it'll move the chain. See, it's moving to the right, and I can pull it back to the left. So what I want to do is set that so that it just touches against the edge of that tooth. So it's off by quite a bit right now, so we'll adjust that. Something like that, I think. Okay, now we can lock that. Like so. So now that should be repeatable. Right, if you pull that chain ahead and move it back, then when we pull this down, that goes in there. The shape of the wheel here now is what's going to grind out that tooth. Now another adjustment is, of course, I'm going to call it the rake angle, or it was angle B in my book here. This angle here. I notice on this chain grinder, there's no adjustment for that. It's just whatever it's set to. I can't see a way to adjust it. So there is no adjustment. You just go with what you're given. But there is a depth, how far down this wheel can go, and that's set with this stop back here. So I want that to come down to the base of the of that tooth. So let me just loosen this up a little bit. And then I'm going to adjust this until that just lifts off the bottom of the tooth. I think that's about it right there. So we'll tighten that down. And then we'll move this in a little bit. A little fussy getting it set up to start with, but anyway, there we go. Then the actual action of sharpening the saw is you close the lever on the top, and then you pull this down and then gently touch the tooth, and then advance the tooth and go like that. So we're going to start up now, and we're going to try and sharpen this, see what happens. So let's have a look and see. So clamp the chain. Let's just have a look and see what kind of a mess we made on that tooth. We get an up close look at it. There's from the top. I think my angle is good. And if you can see inside the tooth, I didn't go too deep. I didn't cut into the actual chain link itself. So I think my depth is good. Now one thing I notice when I'm filing with a file, I will get out to this edge this cheek edge here a little bit better than I seem to be getting with the stone. But anyway, that stone seems to be doing not a bad job. So let's put this on here again. Advance it. All right, so that's that one cut at 30 degrees. Now we go all the way around the chain. So we can't cut this tooth because that's the other side. So we'll have to reset the file for that. Whoops. So there's that tooth. Let's see how this one makes out. All right, not that one, but that one. And we're back to the start again. It definitely puts an edge on them. So now we're going to change the angle here to 30 degrees on the other side. And let's see how we make out with this one. Okay, so we're going to have to go on this tooth now. It looks like everything is set up, so let's go on this side. And that's the last one there. So we take our chain out and we look at it, and like I was saying, it's I think it's definitely sharper. It doesn't get right down in the valleys here of each of the teeth though, like you would with a round file. But you also don't, or so far at least, I haven't cut into the actual chain side link part of it. So I don't know, maybe I need to set my depth a little bit deeper. But the chisel edges on the top certainly are getting cut off. Now, the other thing we have to watch for now is what I call the rakers. These right here. What they do is they, you can file those down so that you'll cut a thicker chip. Because what that does is this will ride on the wood, and then this will shave the wood behind it. So the difference in height between the top of this tooth and the top of this raker, it determines the thickness of the chip. So you have to watch, this machine doesn't do the rakers, so you'll have to watch that. But I do have a gauge that I can put on the teeth and hand file the rakers down. So you still have to do some hand filing, I guess, every now and then. But I'm thinking what I'd like to do is I'd like to put this on the saw now and try it. But I'm not going to do that today because it's getting dark out. But what I'd like to do, this seems to be working all right. I'd like to get maybe, 2 or 3 or 4 chains, have them sharp, put them in the chainsaw case, and then when I'm out working and sawing, when my chain gets dull, I'll just take the chain off and replace it with a sharp one. And then when I come back to the shop, I can take these, they'll already be off the saw, and I can sharpen them up. Didn't take very long to sharpen that, so I don't know. I think it might work out all right. So all in all, I'm going to give this, I don't know, a 6, maybe 6 out of 10. I'd like to be able to adjust like the angle that it pivots on more, but I can't, so I'm gonna live with that, I guess. But you know, for $50, I think it's a quick way to sharpen your chains, especially if you're like me. I can't really hand file a chain all that well. I can make it cut pretty good, but not great. I know there's lots of guys around who can sharpen chains way better than me. And after a bit, you know, you'll file maybe too many strokes on the right hand teeth and not enough on the left hand teeth, so your saw starts cutting crooked. This would be a great tool. Set the chain on this and then true it all up again, start over. And you can see, like on this chain here, this was a chain that I had more or less given up on, but there's lots of tooth left on it, right? So like there's 4 or 5 more sharpenings in this for sure. So this chain will last me a lot longer. So I think from that point of view, this is going to be a good addition to the shop. Well, not a bad little tool for 50 bucks. I think it's going to be all right. Does a nice job sharpening the chain too. It doesn't handle the rakers, like I say, but it'll put a good edge on the teeth. And I think it's going to be great for taking an old chain, you know, that's just about ready to throw out, bringing it back to life, because you can put everything back true and even on both sides. So I think it's going to be all right. Nice tool to have. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked this little video on the chainsaw chain sharpener. So let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think these are worth it, or do you think they're just kind of a toy? Anyway, I think they're going to be nice. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a great week. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.